Hey everyone! Hi, it's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. Hey Lola. Sorry. Hi, how are you? It's time for Cricut Chat. It's Wednesday. I always get confused on holiday weeks, but it is indeed Wednesday, and yes, I know. Lola's doing some talking now too. It is indeed Wednesday, and we are going to be doing some summer cards today from an oldie but goodie. I love the oldies but goodies. You know, before Cricut started doing online technology, and it wasn't that long ago that this happened, but before they did this, they had these things called cartridges, and each cartridge would have a whole bunch of images, oftentimes like 200, 300, 400 images, and they would be different variations of similar images based on a theme. One of them, and I had a whole bunch of them before they went digital, but one of them was called Life's a Beach. And the way that they do these, it was that like they would take the certain theme. So Life's a Beach would be about beach. And they created little projects and then also standalone images that you could use. And you can find these kinds of image sets right here. When you go to images, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but let's go back to our canvas. So with this Life's a Beach set, there were actually 46 of these really cute little cards that I think I cut them out at 5 inches. I'm going to give them all to you because then you don't have to go searching for them. But there's a lot of cards here. And so I've been looking at my calendar, you know, and nowadays, right after the holiday, it's kind of like, okay, what do we do now? From July to like mid-August, what do we do? And I know we do cards for Christmas. We're going to be doing Christmas in July. But I think there is some thing to be said for sending a card just because. And so on my calendar, and this is Susan Branch calendar, on my calendar in July, this coming Sunday, I should say, I think it's the 11th, there is the National Cheer Up the Lonely Day. It's called National Cheer Up the Lonely Day, and it's this Sunday. And I've looked at that, and I've thought, what can I do to cheer up the lonely? And honestly, there is no better feeling, in my opinion, than to get a personalized card in the mail. This week, I got several, and I'm hoping that I can show you them. And I'm not lonely, but because I have all you guys, but so I got several, and they just cheer me up among, you know, the true green, whatever, the weed killer things, and the restaurant menus, and the circulars from Market Basket and stuff like that. It's nice to have this little card sort of peeking out through all of those, and the bills, right? And reading whatever little saying and seeing how people have developed a little card. Good morning, Tara. So I was thinking that I have a few people that I would consider lonely in my life. My mother is one of them. Last week, she broke her wrist. I don't know how she did it. It was after we got back, and she's not terribly steady on her feet, and so we're just kind of trying to decide what to do with her. She's really up in New Hampshire, very, very deep up in New Hampshire, and though my younger sister is there, she's got a huge family and doesn't have a whole lot of time for her. So my sister and I, my older sister and I were sort of trying to come up with a plan. But then this happened, and I thought, okay, cheer up the lonely day. I think that I'm going to send some cards to my mom. And I also have some other people who are struggling with their moms and things like that. And so if you are looking for someone, if you don't know any lonely people, you do. But if you don't know who to send them to, you can always email me or send me a PM. Send me a PM and I will give you my mom's P.O. box because she could certainly use some love in the box. I also have another woman's mother that just went into a nursing home. It's amazing to me the lack of care, lack of services available for seniors, but that's a totally different topic. Anyway, so I'm okay. I'm fine. Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to have you send, and so, right, so, you get busy with your life, we went away, visit mom, came back, and then a few days later heard that she fell and broke her wrist, was in the hospital, and that was this past Saturday, and so we're not planning on going back up there until the end of the month, so I just figured send her some love might be a good idea. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. Anyway. Okay. So these cards are so simple to make, and you can jazz them up in a lot of different ways. This one here, I took basically and put, the squares do not exist, but I just put these squares in here just to give them a little bit of oomph. I mean, really, literally, this is a quickie card, very much like our insert cards, but for the bigger machines. These also could be done on the Joy, but you wouldn't be able to make them as big. I think I've have them at a 6-inch square, and so they'll cut out like this. As you can see on here, I've separated them all by color, and that's because I was stunned to find out that there were actually 46 of these cards. Isn't that crazy? So I separated by color. I also found an envelope that it would go in, and I created this. Let me get rid of some of these just so you can see what I'm talking about. And then we're going to cut some, but before that, I'm going to show you how to find them. Okay? I will give you this file. All right? So these cards come in a little bit smaller than this. That's because they were cartridge cards. And again, they come in color coded. Now, one thing I want to kind of tell you about is that there is a score line here. If you do want to do this on a Joy, you'll have to remove the score line. And so that's just something. And some of these older images, they don't even have score lines. They're that old. And they might just have like a little thing to indicate where you would fold, like this. So after I found all these cards, I thought, here's what I'll do. I will create a little square, and I'll cut it out of some really nice paper, and I'll turn these cards a little bit more fancy by just using some really great paper. I'm going to show you which paper I used in a second, but these are all these cards, and they could look plain, but they don't. They're really cute, and so cute, right? The other thing too is about this is that these are square cards, which you can see up here. Oh no, you can't see it. Up here is a width of 10 inches and a height of just under 5 inches. So it's a 5 by 5. It's a square card. So I went looking for a square envelope, and I just did a search by image. Let me go back to image and just type in square envelope. Okay, so it comes up with a lot of envelopes. This one is the one I chose, but I think maybe I would try this one just to be different. And I want to just show you that these envelopes are not, they're not sized appropriately, first of all, and they're also not scored. So if you want to resize them, you can do that. And this is what, oh, there's Lola. So there's another country we've not heard from. So anyway, these cards are 5 by 5 square, and I'm going to put in this little square on the inside edge of my card. So this is, I made it 4.9 squared, so I'm going to use this as a guide. I know it's a little bit smaller than my card. So I'm going to stretch my card a little tiny, my envelope a little tiny bit, just to give some wiggle room for this card. Okay, so that is how I make the size. But I will tell you, when I cut this out, these here cut actual little slits in the envelopes. Okay, so I didn't like it. I was like, why? I don't even know what I did with it. I had it right here. Oh, here it is. So here is the end result of this. And you see that these are these little slits right here, which to me, I'm like, that's amateur. So I want to change my envelope so that it doesn't have those little slits there. I want to put score lines. Okay, so first I have to take the slits out. I have the item selected, and I am going to go down here to contour, and I'm just going to click on these slits. I don't want them there. Okay, I suppose I could do this afterwards, but this, I'm pretty sure I can figure out how to do a square. Okay, so then I'm going to go to shapes, which is over here, and I'm going to pull some score lines in. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And they usually appear up here all together. All right. So I'm going to take my score lines and sort of kind of put them in place here. And I'm going to stretch them out. I can do that either just by stretching them, or I can change the height to, say, 5.25 or something like that. And then I am just going to place it right here on the corner. Same with this one on the right. Stretch it out. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size, okay? It doesn't have to be, okay? And so once I stretch it out and I know that it's going to score end to end, and I have it right here at where that fold is going to be, I'm going to then take the top one, turn it like this, also stretch it out, and do it at the top. That looks, maybe I should have it a little tiny bit more. Okay, here we go. And then here's the bottom one. Do the same thing, turn it on its side and bring it up here and stretch it out. Now I have my box that is going to be my score. Okay, and you don't have to have a scoring wheel to do this. You can use your scoring stylus, which I'll show you. But now what we have to do is take our scoring and attach it to the envelope. If we do not attach it to the envelope, it will sort of cut on its own mat. So we select all of this, and then we go down to the bottom right here where it says attach. Okay, so now when we move around this envelope, all of those lines are attached. And see here, these are a little bit larger than the envelope. That's okay. But I just want to be able to see where I'm going to fold it. Now, technically, you could just fold it if you have a good eye or you have a nice ruler or something like that. But this is the way you do it, the Cricut way. Okay, so that's how you do the envelope. As far as the insert goes, so all of these cards are sized at being 10 by 5, right? That is a square card. And so I want to cut out using some patterned paper to put behind this card, much like the insert card, but we're going to put glue. We don't need the insert tabs. If you want to see how the insert tabs, there are some insert tab cards that you can do on the Explorer or the Maker, and I can show you where to find them. I can show you also how to create your own insert card for Explorer or Maker, but for right now, the insert cards that are in Design Space for Joy, not all of them are transferable into, you have to kind of create them yourself. I think they're made with images that are in the Design Space image library, but they're not created as cards, if that makes sense. Okay, it's on my wish list of things to do. So anyway, so here's the card, and here is going to be the cutout. But I also have all of these cards. Like I said, there's 46 of these cards. So you can pick and choose what you want to do. But here for me, I'm thinking I'm going to send out these cards to a bunch of people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the envelope, and I'm going to turn off this square for a second. And then I'm just going to hit Make It. And you'll see that, I also had the yellow ones turned on. And so 2 of these fit very well with very little waste with a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. But if you are like me and you have a lot of 8.5 by 11 inch paper, like maybe you got it from Michael's, and I'll give you an example because I've been telling you guys to go to Michael's. So here is an 8.5 by 11 inch pack of paper in pinks, all the different pinks, and maybe you have this and you're like, okay, Rita, what do I do with this? I'm going to tell you what to do. So we're going to go over here to material size. All right, and we are going to use this drop down box and choose letter 8.5 by 11. When we do that, you'll see the cards get turned on this side, and you don't have to actually do that if you don't want to, but this is just an example, right? So 8.5 by 11. But if you change it back to 12 by 12, you see it's still sideways. That's kind of weird, but that's okay. But if I want to do 8.5 by 11, I would put my paper on the mat like this, and then I would go ahead and do it. So let me just continue on with this. And I have my paper. Let me get a mat. And it doesn't matter the color. I mean, the screen is showing yellow, but I'm going to take a piece from this pink. And I'm actually going to find something that goes with pink. Let's see. This one is swim trunks. This one's dolphins. Let's see. They might all be blue. So we might have to use some. I see a flamingo. Okay, so I'm going to do the flamingo. You can either do this in cardstock for intricate cuts or medium cardstock, depending on how accurate you feel the machine will be. It's really not that intricate, but I'll choose it anyway, just so that people know about this. I know a lot of people don't know. There is a setting in cardstock. I'll show you. When you go to select a material, you would go to browse all materials, and you can see here we have a small group of cardstock choices. Now, here's where people get confused. I call cardstock paper. It's just a habit. I hate saying cardstock. And so if you have paper, if I say paper and you have paper, that is a different look and feel to a card. Cardstock, it feels thicker. It kind of makes a noise like this. And sorry, I think I just got interrupted on my Wi-Fi. Okay, this is what I would consider to be medium cardstock. And then you would go here and look on your paper and you see it says 65 lb, 65 pounds. So what that means is, I keep getting interrupted and I apologize. I don't know. I guess also, you know, my internet might be kind of screwy. Okay, so anyway, your paper is weighted. And so you're going to choose from cardstock. Now, if you keep getting interrupted, and I apologize, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on, but I'm maybe there is a storm coming. Yeah, there is a storm coming. So I'm going to wait just a little tiny bit and just go ahead and choose for this. I'm going to choose medium cardstock. I'm going to hit done. That way people won't really miss anything. I'm going to edit the tools. I'm working on my Maker, but I want to use my scoring stylus. And so, yeah, stay with me. If you might have to back out and come back in, but it was on my end, an internet connection, and it reconnected. Oh, Renee, you missed all the excitement. All right, so you'll notice here that I have this, which is a Cricut stylus, a scoring stylus. It's kind of like a pen, but it has no ink in it, and it has a sharp, but not a really super sharp. It has a sharp tip. When you use it, you put it into the A-clamp, and make sure you support that A-clamp when you're clicking it in and close it. When you choose to, if you have a Maker, when you choose to use the stylus, you have to do that on the actual screen, which you may or may not have seen because I was going in and out. Okay. So I did change this for my Maker, and you can see it's doing the scoring. It always does the scoring and then the writing and then the cutting. In this case, I just want to make a bunch of little cards that I can send out to anybody. And I kind of just want to have my own little deck of cards. I don't know if I told you. I think I did. I like to sort of make 2 cards at once usually. And I do that because I want to demonstrate how to put it together, but I also do it because then I have extras. And a lot of times my senior center is looking for cards. So here is an opportunity for me to make some cards and not personalize it, and I can give them to the senior center. Okay. So this card is now done. Believe it or not, all we have to do is remove it. There's our nice, cute little flamingo. We're just going to remove it. Be careful. She has thin legs, or he has thin legs. He also has, I'm going to call her she, forget it. He also has a little dot. The flamingo has a little dot for the eye. So I'm going to just poke it out like this. Now, what about, let's say I went and cut out a whole bunch of these. What about the envelope and that insert? Very simple. Let's go back. Let's say we cut all of these over, right? And we cut them all done. So let's get out of this cut, cancel. And then we're going to group these, hide them. I'm going to also find the other group that's still on somewhere. The yellow. Okay. And then I'm going to turn on the envelope. And I will also turn on, where's my square? My square. Okay, so my envelope, which doesn't have my score lines showing. Sorry. So let's say we're doing this as we're making a whole bunch of cards. So what I would suggest that, and you don't have envelopes, you want to make the envelopes, okay? So I would say make it. Now for this square, I'm going to do it on a mat. So for this square, I would honestly, I'm not going to put up a big 12 by 12 inch sheet of paper into my machine and waste all that, because it will like come out of the pack and all of that. Does that ever happen to you? So what I do is I will switch it, the copies, the project copies. So I did it to 4. Okay, so there are now 4 separate on a sheet of paper. That's going to work out really well. You'll notice since I switched it to 4, the envelopes appear on the mat and they appear separately. I'm going to talk about that in a second. All right, so then I'm going to hit continue. And I want to show you this paper, which is what I was using. It's called Ocean Wonder. It's by Die Cuts with a View. It's really cute. So I want to just show you. It is double-sided, and it's all like ocean themed. That's what I used for the cards. Look at this one. Ooh, and it's different on the back. So let's choose this one with the gold elements. Right? And it's got fish on the other side. And we're going to cut this. Now, we're going to cut this because it's cardstock. We're going to cut it on medium cardstock. It's just 4 squares that we're going to cut on medium cardstock. And if you want to change things up, you can go ahead and cut out either two-sided, or you can switch it around, whatever you want to do. So here I'm going to go. I'm going to cut out my squares in a medium cardstock, pretty basic cut. So I don't think I need to show you how the machine works. But when we get to the envelopes, I do want to show you something. Is everybody back? The paper, it's called Ocean Wonder. It's by a company called Die Cuts with a View. They are now calling themselves DCWV, Die Cuts with a View. They didn't always have that name. So, and I got it at Joann's, but Die Cuts with a View is available at many retail locations. They are kind of a national brand, and they've been in the paper making businesses for as long as I have been doing it. And even before then, they actually did cutouts, like before machines were. That's why they call themselves Die Cut with a View, because they used to actually sell individual die cuts. Can you imagine? Like if you were a scrapbooker or a card maker, you would go to a store and you would buy individually wrapped, talk about an environmental hazard, but individually wrapped die cuts. And so you were at their mercy as far as the colors you wanted. Let's say you wanted a boy with dark brown skin. You know, they might not have the boy with dark brown skin. They might have the boy with light brown skin, but that sort of thing. So I'm kind of glad they went to the paper. And so here are our 4 squares. Nothing to that. But now we're going to do the envelopes. So the envelopes here, I'm going to do it on thinner paper. And you guys know this is an exception. I don't usually make envelopes unless it's a really special card, or maybe the envelope is very special, like it has a cutout on it or something, or it's a different size. In this case, our size is pretty unique. So what I'm going to be using is this. This is called a Stack 180. This is actually paper. It is not cardstock. All right. And I'm just going to show you this. It's very thin. It's often used for scrapbookers. Okay. And they come in all different things. Sometimes they come with a theme, like this one, I think is a theme. So if you start at the beginning, yeah, you'll see snowflakes. There's some hearts for Valentine's Day, and then you'll see some spring colors, and then you keep going on. Look at fall, and then they have Christmas and all of that stuff. So this paper, it's very thick. Also, let's see, this is also a die cuts with a view stack, and I got this one at Michael's. These generally have 180 sheets. That's how you'll know that it's paper, because if you have a cardstock, 180 sheets, it would be like 4 times as thick. You see how this is really thick? It kind of reminds me of the old telephone books. So I'm just going to take off a sheet of this, and I want to show you how you would choose a cut on this. So we're going to go to browse all materials, and I know you were used to just kind of staying in cardstock, but we're going to scroll down, or we can hop down using the drop down box, but we're going to scroll down to paper. Now, paper is the category that is anything that could be considered paper, plus a few that I wouldn't consider paper, but not cardstock. So those two categories should be sort of in your brain as I'm going to be cutting this out. Is paper. What kind of paper is it? Is it just plain old cardstock? Then use the cardstock settings. And it's either like light, medium, heavy, okay? But this paper also has things like mulberry paper. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's kind of like, it looks like a handmade paper that has little bits of nature in there. And it's really crinkly and very pretty. Grocery bag, freezer paper, deluxe paper, corrugated paper. And we're going to use this copy paper, which is 32 pounds, okay? Because it's a very thin paper, and I guess 32 pounds seems about right. So let's choose that. But there are a lot, so explore here, okay? So we're going to choose that, and because we have many to cut, I am going to remember my material settings. And in this case, I have a choice. Do I want to switch to do I want to switch it from a single scoring wheel, which is recommended, or a scoring stylus? Now, this is your personal choice if you have a Maker or a Maker 3. If you do not have a choice, it's because you're working with an Explore machine. This is one of the differences between an Explore and a Maker. I'm going to just use our scoring stylus for the sake of, continuity with everybody, but I'm just pointing out that if you don't see this option, it's only because you cannot use the single scoring wheel in the Explore machines. Okay, so there is all set. We're going to take you down here just so you can see. I have my scoring stylus in there, and I am going to place it on my mat. And I'm going to put it in first. And remember, scoring goes first. So it's going to do the scoring. And I just want to show you how that works. It's going to do those scores that we placed on the envelope. Okay, it's ready. So it's going to do the envelope square on the inside, and then it will, there's actually like a little tiny noise that the Maker 3 makes that I know that it's like done with one tool. I can hear it. I don't know if it's because the machine is pretty quiet in general, but I can hear it makes like a little, almost like it's thinking right there. I don't know if you could hear that, but it's kind of funny. It's like doo-doo. And now it's going to cut out using my regular cut piece, and it's going to cut all around the envelope. This machine is quiet because it is the Maker 3. The Explorer 3 is just as quiet. It has to do with them redoing the machinery inside of the new machines. That is one difference that I absolutely love. I don't know why they don't tell people that, because oh my gosh, it's a huge difference, especially if you're sitting all day with your machine. Okay, so here's my paper. And actually I probably should have chosen something a little thicker for a setting, because I'm just gonna have to take this off like this. And here is my cutout, my envelope cutout. Okay, let's put together the envelope first. You'll see here on the back, it might be a little difficult to see on the front, but you see on the back where these are supposed to be folded. So it might help if you just kind of fold it from the back first. Then you can turn it over and fold all of these flaps. Usually they'll indicate, like they have done with this one, that this is the top. It's usually different. And the way this goes together is, and if you look at an envelope, you can see that this is the way it goes together, is like either, I like to do it this way, where you put the two side flaps together and you can put a little tiny bit of glue on there. Yeah. And okay, so just a little bit, just to hold it in place, okay? And then we're going to put the glue on the bottom flap. Do not put glue all over the bottom flap, because you have this opening here, and you need for it to stay open so you can put your card in, okay? And then we'll just close it up. Now, to close the card, you will either use, you can use double stick tape, you can use even a little bit of glue, and they, you know, leave a little bit of the flap open. But now, here brings up the question of, if I chose too busy of a paper, what do I do? The machines are pretty good in the post office, and they can probably read this, but you could also make a little label, sort of like a return address label. In this case, again, I'm going to make these for my senior friends, so I'm not really worrying about that. And then here is the difference between this envelope, which has the score lines, and this envelope, which had the cut lines. You see that? I don't like that. It's like they're tabs or something. I do not like that at all. So that's getting thrown away. Okay, so here's our envelope. Let's just put together the card we created. And we have a lot of these here, because I'm going into mass production. Okay, so here's our card. There's a score line. We're going to fold it at the score line just like that. This is so easy. Then we're going to take our printed paper. If you're lucky enough to have double-sided paper, you can choose which side you want to appear on the front or in the back. Now you will see this in the back of the card, but it's fine. It's fine to see it. I think this blue looks good, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here on our very delicate flamingo legged, our very delicately legged flamingo. And I'm actually gonna put a little around the edges, but not go straight to the edges, because I made this card at the square at 4.9 because I wanted a little bit of wiggle room so that I can close and open this card. Okay, and there is our really quick flamingo card. You could, if you sat in your studio for an hour, you could probably knock off, oh, I don't know, 24 of these cards, if that's something you'd like to do. Now I want to take you back to, before I let you go, I want to take you back to Design Space. I do want to cancel and show you where I got these cards, and also just kind of show you, I don't even need to do that. So I'm gonna, well, I will. Okay, my brain. Okay, so I'm going over to images, right here, images, and I'm going to choose image sets, because this used to be a cartridge that I know existed, and the title's name is Life's a Beach. That's the name of it. I'm going to go to image set. I'm going to type in the word beach. And it comes up at the very top, and you'll notice next to the title it says 322 images. You will also see what kind of looks like a font, but it's really not. It's considered an image, but these cartridges used to come with like fonts, and so it comes with this and this charm, okay? So that's where some of the 322 images come from. So we're going to click on that, and you'll see the font at the top. And if you are working from an iPad, make sure you refresh when you're looking at this image set, because oftentimes you'll only see the font and you have to continue to scroll. I don't know why they don't put these in the bottom, but this is the way it is. Okay, so you'll see here, after we pass all the letters, that we've got individual images, we've got these little charms, that's what they call them. There are these cards that I would call like a photo mat card, and that's not the ones we did. But then they have these square ones. So there's our flamingo, and if you go through and you click only on those and you do it all very religiously, you will find at least 45. I probably missed some, but you'll find 45 images, or choose the ones that you want. Like if you only want to do flip-flops, then do flip-flops. But as I said, I'm using this for just a cheer up thing for my senior friends. So I'm just going to choose all of these. Now I'm going to bring them into Design Space. And by the way, if you choose all 40 of them, it takes a while for Design Space to process that, because whoa, that's a big request. Okay. Now you notice they come in small. And so I am going to change the width to 10 inches. And the reason why we do that is so when it's folded, it will be 5, and it's almost 5 height, 4.988. And 10 is the width. So when it's folded, it'll be almost 5 by 5. And we have to do that with each one. So we'll just go ahead and just put the width of 10 inches here. All right. Here we go. 10 and 10. And then here is where we want to create a square that's going to fit. So we know that this card is 5 inches squared. So we're just going to add a shape of a square. You don't have to recolor it, but I like to because I hate that gray color. And then you can either just stretch it like this so that you know it's covering that, or you can come up here and just make it like 4.9 inches. All right, or for whatever makes you comfortable, but this will go on the inside of the card. And let's just send it back just so you can get an idea. And isn't that a cute little card? So there are so many of these kinds of cartridges that I would love to show you. And yeah, they're here. So when we get off, I will definitely post the file, which I think I named Life's a Beach Summer Cards, and that will include our redone envelope, just one of them, because you just need one where you can just change the project type. But I would cut out the envelopes separate from the cards, and the inserts I'd cut out separate too. And then you can just have like a little factory going where you're cutting out 4 of the inserts, and then you're cutting out 2 cards or 1 card on an 8.5 by 11. And pretty soon you'll end up with a couple dozen cards very quickly. So it's a quick card. So, and they're not labeled quick cards. It's labeled under Life's a Beach. Okay, everyone, that is it for today. But I wanted to tell you that I've had my hands full. Actually, I have to take Lola back to the vet because they're going to do a test for Addison's. I'm afraid that she might have that, so they need to do that test. It's going to take a couple of hours. So we were at the vet a couple of hours yesterday, and it made it so that it was difficult to come up with a project. I kind of just had like a brain freeze where I was like, what am I going to do for a project? today. And also, while I was thinking about it, Regina asked me if we would switch the Zoom call to Saturday. And I think that given the week I'm having, which has just been very busy, I'm going to do that. So we're going to do the Zoom call. If Lynn Collins is on, will you email me or message me so we can set that up? So we'll do the Zoom call on Saturday night, but I'm not going to be able to do the Joy giveaway probably until Sunday. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. And remember, it's Cheer Up the Lonely, National Cheer Up the Lonely Day on Sunday. And then on Saturday night, the Zoom call. And then I will be here, obviously, on Thursday and Friday. For the 3D Friday, I want to do an adorable sand pail that came from Dreaming Tree. I will post the link for you. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you for the well wishes for Lola. My boys are actually afraid of her. So we'll see how that goes. And thank you for sharing, Brent. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And make those cards and send them out to your senior center. Or if you want my mom and another woman's address because you have nobody to send to, that one's Lola. She does not like the garbage truck. Okay, I gotta go. Chaos. Okay, everybody. Oh no, they're gone. Phew. Well, they're gone. Okay, all right, everybody. Have a great day and get some crafting in. Bye.